1974 Montgomery Ward's Airline portable color television repair, part 2. In part 1, we discovered the tuner was dead, the delay line had an open peaking coil attached to it, an open thermistor in the power supply circuit, and a bad connection with the IF, and I'm working on this female RCA plug here that's connected to the circuit board, and I'm trying to figure out why there's no contact. And when I do wiggle the thing on top, I see a little movement in the bottom here, and I'm wondering if that is cracked right there or what's going on. So I'm going to clean this up a little bit, and I wasn't going to move forward with this TV, but I started doing some research on peaking coils, and you can't just go and buy some random inductor. It has to be a peaking coil, I guess, the way it's specifically wound or the type of core it has or something. So I've been looking for a peaking coil, and I might have one on the way. So let's move forward with this a little bit. I think this whole board's going to have to be resoldered. It's pretty bad, but we'll take it one step at a time. So the first thing, I want to find out what's wrong with this female RCA IF input to the IF strip problem is. You know, I'm going to have to, I can see that the solder here looks good. Well, no, it doesn't, but it's not cracked where the RCA connector goes to the board. There's a bunch of cracks under this shield. So I'm going to lift this shield up, and this dirt cleans right up. Definitely, I'm reluctant to spray this with a pressure sprayer because it might just take all the green coating right off the board. But I think this whole entire board's going to have to be reflowed completely. Yeah, I'm sure some people will really enjoy seeing me do this. Just want to be careful because you could cause more problems than you solve doing this stuff. They didn't trim these leads very effectively, so easy to bend them over and cause two leads to short. Alright, let's pull this shield off and see what we got underneath here. Okay, this is the main failed connection I see under here. This right here. Which is interesting. I wonder what this went to. But also, this is bad. This connection's bad. So I'm going to go through and just reflow a bunch of these. And yeah, this right here, this is a good example of what I meant by the brush. You could easily bend this over so it's touching that, and you know, that's, they didn't trim these leads down very short, so you got to watch when cleaning this stuff. That's why I'm real reluctant to do it. I reflowed as much of this stuff as I could. You know, all these solder stakes are cracked, and there's a whole bunch of them I can't get to up under here. So I think in order to do this, the chassis, the set's going to have to completely come apart. Just completely gutted. And cleaned. Alright, let's see what it takes to totally pull this apart. This is just a little video for my recollection. The location of this stuff is very kind of critical, so if we don't want to do a mega setup with the convergence and all that, we'll try and leave this alone. Here's where those Not that lead dress matters in this mud dumpster, but I might as well try and capture it all real quick. As far as discharging the picture tube, I hardly ever do this, but you know, some people with weak hearts and pacemakers and those that don't like to be shocked might do this. You just take a clip lead from ground and then you can do this and just and this one's completely discharged, probably because this focus divider here. So yeah, if you're afraid of high voltage, a low high voltage shock, you can do this. And this is nowhere near as hard of a hit as the spark off a new high energy ignition in a car. So you know, there's a lot of fear surrounding this, and fairly easy to remove chassis. I just wanted to make a note, there's a ground wire that connects here. It looks like we take this off and it all unplugs. It's all plug and play. Very, very easy to get apart. If it wasn't all rusty and baked, it would come apart even quicker. 5 minutes I could have had that out of there. And I think I found our thermistor from part 1. There it is. There's the thermistor from part 1. Pretty horrible. And here's the other side. Now this might have a date with the car wash. I might take this over to coin op and blow it off. Alright, I'm going to take this stuff and very gently blow it off with compressed air, very gently. I don't want to create problems, you know. So at this point, blow it off with compressed air, fix the delay line. I'm reluctant to start removing these tubes because I don't want to damage the sockets, but I'll have to cover these type of things up with tape or something because I don't want to put a bunch of dust in there. Let's pop this tuner open and have a quick look at this, and then we'll check the electrolytic capacitors while we got it apart. And let's look at the tuner. You know, this is really not supposed to be how your workbench looks after you work on a television. You're not supposed to have the garden in the television. Alright, so it's one of these type of tuners. So what we need to do is go through and clean up these little contacts here where they connect down there to the, you can see. What's interesting is this one here is not moving. This one's not moving, like it's disconnected or broken, or so I just need to go through and service this and test the tubes. Yeah, that one's not moving, and that's the oscillator. So I got to check that out. Alright, you know what? I should get some kind of award for this. So here we go. What we're going to do is we're going to torque and squirt. This is good old WD-40. Y'all seen enough yet? Just what you do when you're lazy. It's about the only thing WD-40 is good for. And we'll let this dry and we'll put the good cleaner on it. And now what you can do is you can put your meter across the contacts and you can check and that is UHF, so we would not have an oscillator slug coil there. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so we're looking good there. Alright, I checked all of our coils are making contact. Before, the oscillator was not making any contact. This is making contact. It's just bent way down underneath there so you don't see it moving. But we look good now. You can see how shiny the contacts are. And this is all the crap that came out of it right there. So it's pretty bad. 2HA5. This is an RF amp. That's the life test. So yeah, at 2 volts. Yeah, I don't know how well the life test works at on a 2-volt tube, because if the life test drops at 1 volt, well, it's going to drop at 50%. This is a 4LJ8. Some weird Japanese tube. Both of these are Japanese. And that's the life test again. So we want 1 and 9. No leakage. You know, both of these tubes are tired. They're both very tired. Just a few little notes here. Getting the case, we have these little rubber things here. They're on the top and sides and not on the bottom. You know, if you really had a lot of money, you could pull all this apart. Or if you really wanted to waste a lot of money on a TV that's got a pretty dead CRT, you could pull this all apart, have these all sandblasted and powder coated, and it would be a real polished turd. But we're just going to take it and power spray it. Yeah, here's the rusty crusty degaussing shield, and the speaker is pretty rusticated. I think we'll have to find a new one of these. Can see light through it. We're going to do a good job of this. I'm just playing around. Here it is all cleaned up. It's a little bit late in the day for this, but it's plastic and rusty metal. I don't think it's going to get any rustier. Probably should give it a week or so for the degaussing coil to dry out, maybe more. Put it in the car and let it bake. I did try and very gently pressure wash this, and you can see I started peeling the capacitors apart with the high pressure water. That's why I am not going to do that to the main board. I hope I didn't ruin that coil right there. This capacitor is loose. Solder joints are bad, but we're going to test all of these broken solder joints on that. And none of these turn, so I figured the water couldn't hurt it any worse. It's very possible that selenium rectifier right there is bad. Those seem to be bad all the time anyway. This really looks like RCA to me. Alright, let's see what kind of damage we can do here.
On your excellent payment history, you now qualify for a 0% interest rates on all your credit card accounts. If you have completed this process or not interested, press 3 now. Otherwise, press 1 now to speak to our qualification department and complete the process. The qualification process.
Hello?
Essentially, is it reliable?
Hello?
Hello?
Yeah, hi sir, this is Jason Mark, how are you?
I near one shaggy last 5 zeros
This
left.
call is in regards to 0% on your credit card account, okay?
Okay.
So which credit card you owe the major balance on? Is that your Visa card or the Master?
Diners Club.
Sorry?
Diners Club International.
I cannot hear you, sir. Could you speak louder?
Diners Club International.
And how much do you say you owe on it?
I say you're going to show you a little bit.
All the clips previous to this one were recorded before the first video was released on the set. So yeah, some interesting comments, not the most positive on this set, but that's not always what we're looking for. Admiral of overseas, or made by Admiral in Taiwan. I don't know about that. I thought that this was the General Electric method of color demodulation using the two color balance pots. Anyway, in the blowing this thing off with the compressed air, I did kind of tear up a bunch more of these chokes. You can see them there. I put some gray silicone on them to hold them together because they're in bad shape. They're coming apart. But anyway, I am going to go through and test a bunch of the electrolytic capacitors with this. So we'll see what we get. We'll do some base 305 today. is a good heavy thump music. Need to see what the value of that one is. Let's see what the value of those two. Well, I guess that solves that. But I don't know about Made in USA. This one here sounds kind of dead. I don't know what the value is. We'll have to get it out. But yeah, these are okay. There's nothing open. They might be low, but they're not open. Yeah, the small one underneath's low ESR. Listen to this. They're both 50 microfarads. Alright, this one is the one out of the board. No clue what it does, but it's dead. So here's a 100 at 50 volts. Oh, it's 100 microfarads. You can hear 100 microfarads takes quite a bit of the bass off. So here's what we got. Now the puzzle becomes reassembling it so that it kind of works, or at least works at least as best as it did before's. The only other thing I got two more things I want to do. I need to that 270, I put the delay line back in, and I'm gonna find the 270 microhenry peaking coil and a speaker. So let's start reassembling this. And now, none of this time wasted actually made the CRT better, but whatever. Yeah, I know sometimes I don't even know why I bother. I have hundreds of speakers around here from EOL sets, and I don't want to take the time to find it right now. There's supposed to be some weather coming in tonight, and I need to get this thing packed up and put away. I spent all this time cleaning it, and now it's going to rain on it. I don't think so. Alright. Believe I reassembled it and hooked all the wires back up, went through all the electrolytics, replaced the 2 or 3 that were open. The big filters are still a little questionable, but I'm not going to get into those right now. I'm going to just power it up, and we'll see what happens before I replace that peaking coil that I bypassed right there. Here we go. Wonder if the tuner is going to work after that WD-40 bath I put it through. Just got this little tiny speaker in here. So let's see what happens. Oh. High voltage. Of course, it's completely out of alignment because I sprayed all the pots and then was rubbing them back and forth. We do have some activity from a few channels on the tuner. Not much, but a little. That's a good sign. It's getting channel 6. The low power. Well, it is working, but there's no... This is color bars, and there's no color demodulation. And the purity's all jacked up. It's doing something weird with the contrast. If I screw with the contrast, oh, now it's not going to do it. But obviously the contrast pot I ruined. I could swear it was working before. But yeah, now it's just... Sometimes the contrast just fades out. But maybe I should put that video peaking coil in there, or maybe I shouldn't. Let me think about that. It doesn't seem to be... It seems to be sharp. Look at the ringing here. See the rings? I wonder if the peaking coil will take those rings out. I'm not going to put the peaking coil in until I get the color demod working. I'm not going to worry about that right now. Okay, this colored hum bar is a trip. You can see it's green here, it's red in the middle now, and then the green will slowly move up. That is a trip. The color demodulation does not work at all.
Isn't it time you had a Medicare Advantage prescription drug plan?
Yes, it is.
Brand New Day goes beyond original Medicare to provide the benefits that matter most to our members, like $0 copayments for primary
But the tuner is working now, and we now have 0 copayments. So that's a plus, and I'm kind of interested to spend some time trying to diagnose some of these problems. The hum bar is very interesting. I want to get off of this right now. This is actually a great topic.
Hey, the results are in. 81% of you said yes, Lexi should get a 9-to-5 job.
It was, should she get a 9-to-5 job, or should she pursue social media stardom?
You all surprised by the audience results?
You know, they don't know, like, the whole truth of, like, I know, but...
I gotta set up an appointment to see Dr. Judy because I'm shocked that my 200 followers on Instagram are not gonna make me a millionaire.
Anyway,
There's nothing wrong with having a dream, but you need to have a foundation to support that dream, and you both need to get jobs. I'm sorry.
Anyway, that seems to be a topic I see a lot now on YouTube is, you know, some of those don't have a 9-to-5 job, and they're looking for YouTube to support them. And just keep something in mind. YouTube is a third-party thing. It can shut down at any time and go away or kill your channel or whatever. Your local job can do that too, but it's a lot less likely and a lot more manageable than becoming a YouTube star and then having politics or something change, or the site just decide they don't want you anymore, they don't want to promote your page. Anyway, I'm not going to go into a rant on that. I have a good 9-to-5 job, and I would never give that up for social media stardom. Anyway, what we are doing here is I have a 100 microfarad 450 volt capacitor, and what I'm doing is I'm just connecting it to one lead of the filters at a time to see if I hit a spot where the hum bar goes away. Now the other thing I could do is measure, look for ripple with the scope, but this is a little bit easier and faster. So the only thing is you have to short the capacitor every time when you jump from one lead to the next, because you don't want to, you know, put 300 volts onto a line that only has 25 volts. You get a pretty good whack out of doing this too. You probably damage the capacitor if I did it too much, but I love my ugly dish. So yeah, none of them have made a difference so far.
Well, it's not exactly
Hello, this is Mason, and how are you doing today?
Good. Is that enabler?
All right, sir. Now, today you've been pre-qualified for a free vacation since you or someone that you know has recently traveled to one of our partners' 5-star resort. This amazing vacation offer is for 6 days and 5 nights, all-inclusive stay, which are for 2 adults and 2 children, children ages 17 and under if there are any. And this is sponsored by the Vallarta Gardens Boutique Resort and Spa. Okay? So the idea behind our promotion is to send you on a VIP experience and pamper you and your loved ones like royalty for a week. We know that once you've experienced our luxury resort, that you will travel with us again in the future. More importantly, you will tell friends and family members what a wonderful time you had, and this will give us good word of mouth advertising.
Was this
All we're asking in return.
was this Wyndham Hotels?
No, sir. All we're asking in return is that you will give our resort 90 minutes of your time for a tour and presentation.
I thought the phone call said Wyndham Hotels.
Well, sir, you will not be staying at a Wyndham Hotel. You're asking where you'll be staying? You'll be staying at one of our resorts. Okay?
Well, it said if not completely satisfied with the alkaline battery, please call 1-800-551-2255. Is that what I have?
Excuse me?
The recording said if not completely satisfied to call this number.
Hold on.
Anyway, what I was doing was I was going to measure the link between the going through the color control. I want to make sure that I'm almost out of memory on the camera. I want to make sure that the color control is not open before I go any further. Is this just like perma-hold or something, or? So this is the color demodulator tube right here, V500. Do you copy? Interrupt my television repair video with your stupid... So yeah, coming out of the Chroma bandpass amp, I was trying to measure from right here, pin 2, which should be right here, and I want to measure basically to this point, and see if this coil is any good and make sure we're getting color information through here. Oh, he hung up on me. You know what? By the way, this all checked good. These pots are a little flaky, but this coil is in line. It's working. It's not open.
Hello?
Yes, hello. I'm returning a call I received earlier.
I don't think I called you. I haven't called anybody. Maybe it was the wrong number.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't remember. I didn't call anybody. I'm not sure.
You sure? You sure about that? Hold on one second. Let me see if I got the right name. Is this Aurora? Aurora?
No.
Or Francisco Busta?
Oh, yeah. Hold on just a minute. Yeah, what is this regards for?
Well, I don't know. I'm just returning a call I got from this number. I missed 2 calls from this number.
Earlier?
Yes.
Okay. I'm gonna call from my number. Yeah, I don't recall calling anybody today, so I'm not sure.
Oh, okay. All right, it must have been a spoofed call. I see what they're doing now. They're actually spoofing a name and a number. So,
okay.
yeah. What I did is I answered the call, and it was a vacation to the Bahamas solicitation from India. And
probably, yeah, some kind of weird.
And I thought I would call it back, and all right, this thing is a trip. So the longer it runs, the picture and the volume are just kind of slowly going away. And if I push this switch, which switches it to the color controls on the back, the preset, it gets rid of the hum bar. This switch is broken. But yeah, it gets rid of the hum bar, and it doesn't look too bad, except it's just dying. $1972. I tried changing this one, which is the oscillator, the 3.58 oscillator, and a couple other things that didn't make any difference. This is the burst bandpass amp. I'm going to test this one. These are some weird tubes. I had to really dig to find that one. This is an 8CB11 ACB radio. I changed the 8CB11. I'm going directly into the IF now, and still no color. Usually I don't see tubes that cause, something like this where there's absolutely no evidence of color. This is a strange one. This is going to be a tough one to diagnose. Alright, well, I'm about ready to hang it up for this evening. I've checked all these tubes. I've checked these transformers. And I mean, this seems like a pretty simple circuit. The video or the color information comes off the bottom of this transistor, and the main composite video feeds off the top, and the color information comes off the bottom through this transformer, amplified by the bandpass amp, comes through here through the color control, and it feeds into the demodulation diodes. I checked those, and the oscillator gets its pulse from here. I guess it kind of rings this crystal, keeps pinging this crystal to keep it on frequency. This is the oscillator. The oscillator feeds into here, it demodulates here. Crystal could be bad. I changed all these tubes. I ohmed out all these transformers. I checked all the voltages. The only voltage that's really kind of low is the cathode here. Here. Well, maybe not. 1.34. I think that's about what it was. I'm going to show you a couple scope readings. This is a real trip. Scope reading from here coming out of the color, and a scope reading here coming out of the oscillator. So this is coming out of the color control, color level. That's the staircase. That's color bars. And that's the EIA color. So the color information is coming out of the color level control. And this is the oscillator. That's on color bars. That's on staircase. You see that literally turns the oscillator off on the staircase. So both the oscillator and the color information are getting through this damn thing. Why is there no color demodulation? Well, this is interesting. I have good information on the outsides of both pots and nothing in the middle. I wonder if the pots are open or bad. Both of them though, but it sure looks like it. That's the type of information I'm getting on the outsides. And yes, it would appear that both trim pots, red and blue balance, are bad. So these are where the combining of the demodulation takes place. So if they are bad, it's going to do exactly what it's doing. It's not going to demodulate. What a trip. What a trip. And that was something that I kind of looked at in the first video. These are the two color balance pots, and they're open all the way around. There's no connection between any of those leads. They're 2K ohm, 2000 ohm. I just grabbed a couple 1000 ohm and put them on the bottom. These are, I think, a little bit higher quality, although I don't know if quality really matters when you sit in a river wash in the desert. But anyway, we have two, and I checked these, and 1000 ohms should be good enough based on looking at where these were. You can see they were just slightly off from the center. So yeah, 1000 ohm will cut our range in half, but it doesn't look like we'll need that much range because these were almost in the middle. Okay, here we go. Everything's up on edge. So based on what we've seen, I expect the color demodulation to work on this. I really do. So it's warming up. And then we'll do this alignment procedure, which is quite comical. Come on. Guess this is why they had instant play. Okay, here we go. Here's a moment of truth. Power on the Syncor. Oh, crap. Really? Alright, what am I doing wrong here? Well, if you turn the contrast all the way down, it is there now. I love that right there, that barber pulling. Pretty pitiful. But interesting if you turn the contrast all the way up. Look at how that's barber pulling. And I did put the new tubes back in. It's vertical. If you turn the contrast all the way up, so it's like the video is overriding the color. The chrome information's getting through, but it's like it's not blending with the video. Alright, so this is adjusting. Actually makes a big difference. That's adjusting one of the coils. Actually makes a huge difference. That's adjusting the tent control on one of the coils. Kind of just try and balance this out a little bit. It's interesting, you can shift from red to blue there. Yeah, we are definitely starting to see an improvement here. Absolutely. I almost want to say we have color demodulation now, and I haven't done the alignment procedure, and I think we got a couple more weak tubes because one of them, the voltages are way off on it. Well, look at that. I want to say we got it. It's working. Rotate color control completely counterclockwise, so turn the color off. Connect the ground lead of a VTVM to pin 7 of V700. Connect DC probe to point K. Adjust until reads 0 and does not change when the meter is removed from point K. Isn't that great? Well, how do you know if it changes? I guess you just look at the color temperature, so that's what we're going to do. And then connect to pin 11 and to pin Q and adjust until it's 0. So I'm just going to use the fluke. The fluke is a 10 megohm meter, just like a VTVM. And I'm going to zero these out. Alright, so this whole time I've been going directly into the IF with the Syncor here, and I'm happy with the color bars and that. So what I'm going to do now is try and get the tuner to work. Alright, this is the final clip on the Montgomery Ward Admiral. I got it working as best I could. It's mainly fully functional except these problems. The CRT is weak. All the vacuum tubes are weak. The video peaking coil, that one that was on the delay line, is just bypassed with some random choke. Most of the pots are frozen or bad. The convergence is not adjustable due to all the rusty frozen pots and a whole host of other issues. But here we go. Let's try our instant on.
$50,000.
Fortunately, Kim and her family were all members of LifeLock, so they weren't left to deal with this on their own.
When I was having to deal with the IRS, I did not have to make a single phone call. They did the heavy lifting. It was such a good service. It was so comforting. I couldn't protect my children from having their identities stolen, but at least I can help protect them with LifeLock.
Most of us procrastinate more than we should. We know identity theft is a very real problem. We think we'll put a plan in place someday, right? Why not join right now? It's time.
I'm trying to adjust it so it looks the same in the camera as it does to me on the screen.
Master Phineas hath withdrawn his charge against the accused.
Ring of fire, fire flame.
We hope should be too. That's why LifeLock now includes the power of Norton for even more protection for your identity.
Il n'a pas également oublié ses racines.
Compact surveillance. This is CopCam, the wireless security camera that's smaller than 1 square inch, so you can hide it anywhere to record anything, anytime.
Type designs on them. Sorry, I'm seeing. I think they're really fun. I was just looking at a bunch of them. So let's go through. You have 5 choices. They're on clearance, so you're getting these for under $20, so it makes it less than 4. I forgot the hug. I was all. Oh no, I always remind you.
I'm trying to stay off copyright stuff.
New for us, it's a Black Friday sale price. We get 1 solid pair of slipper socks and 1.
And you can hear the tearing in the audio. That's either alignment or tubes.
4 color choices to see too.
Yeah, where would you like to start?
Well, let's say we're over on the mannequin leg, so let's just start right there. So this is our pink, and then we call it pink warm. So it's you get both pairs in your, and each of these are a pair. You get the solid pink, that's a beautiful blushy pink, and then what we're calling warm, like a warm stripe. So you've got the lilac, and then that pink that matches over to here is so fun. Then next to that we have the blue cool pack. We'll just call it Secure Mobile App. Evine.com gets you right to the front of the line. If you're on the phones, I know we've
one-on-one against running backs when they want to blitz. And Boomer, you're right. If you're a quarterback, you always know where Khalil Mack is. All right.
Told through the dramatic lens of her final concert. The show presents the complexities and conflicts the songwriter and singer faced in her meteoric rise and descent.
The musical features summer's classic hits, including these 2, Hot Stuff and Last Dance, sung by Tony-winning LaChance and Ariana DeBose, with Storm Lever and the cast of Summer.
Donna Summer, a victim of 9/11 dust. Macy's Day Thanksgiving in ultra high definition, 4K. I bet this is copyright. Oh crap. It's all there. The greens are green, the reds are red. It's all there.
Wiener Schnitzel's making this up. CBS 2 News on your side.
Because if you throw both shoes at me, I'm keeping them. They become my shoes.
You know what? You may deserve that shoe if I take off both.
For the Lord your God will be with you wherever you go.
Going on now. This holiday, visit your local Acura.
I was just shocked. Nothing. There's no smoke in the apartment. We didn't have to open the doors.
The Power Smokeless Grill really is
smokeless
Are you
grill.
sure? Where's the smoke?
You can grill juicy porterhouse, surf and turf, tender cowboy, and succulent jumbo shrimp, barbecue back ribs. Look at the char grilled results. You'd never know it wasn't cooked on an outdoor grill. What's the secret? The heat source.
It's the Chinese plastic toxic cooking
Call
apparatus.
today and get the best price on your next flight.
Pásala.
CBS 2 News.
Come on, show us the grass at the stadium.
Thanksgiving, a time for home cooking and home movies. There's Cousin Joe.
Butchered like a true drag queen.
Players change.
Chicken strips, wings, and tasty Collectible Car World is in Pebble Beach, California. Sold your cars up. And Ferrari.
Is the grass green? And it is. It's very green.
As we welcome you to Detroit.
All right.
The downtown streets were lined 1,000,000 strong earlier.
Done with the Ward's Airline Admiral from, I don't know, somewhere 1972 to 1974, depending on who you want to believe, the date codes or the SAMs. And we'll move on to the next one. Maybe we'll do a radio next. Wow, we have RT today on DirecTV. That's great. The Kaiser report, Max Kaiser.
Rhino, the gray rhino. The fully visible.
Yeah, that was a Chinese metaphor. His metaphor is the buffalo. Right.
Wow, great. We have RT on DirecTV now. That's great. Some alternative to the opposition and the controlled opposition. Anyway, I wanted to show real quick, since this is my third edit on this thing, I wanted to show what that coil does, that peaking coil. And I have that just random inductor stuck in there, and I have it bypassed right now. But look at the text here. And now I'm going to take the bypass off of this peaking coil. See the difference in that? Look at the difference in the sharpness. It's incredible. The tint is off. I've been screwing with it. But I've been watching the TV, and I've had to edit the video 3 times and re-upload it because it keeps getting nailed with copyright stuff. So that's that peaking coil bypassed. Let me see. Come on, show me something that's usable. See the difference in sharpness there? So the peaking coils are very, very important to have the right peaking coil. That's bypassed. That's through the inductor. Anyway, I thought I'd add that in here since I've had to edit this 3 times. I think I'll watch a Kaiser report. So, you know, this is interesting to always look at the infrared. And you can see that that's the convergence board. One of the pots on the convergence board is super hot. The focus divider there is a little warm. I'm not going to touch it, but the focus divider is a little warm. Its set's been running for several hours now. It's a nice lag here. The phone is getting overfilled. Of course, the horizontal output and damper. I wonder if I can adjust this live. I sure can. I crank the temperature way up. So now we're only seeing the very hottest items. Crank it up even hotter. So now you're seeing just the very hottest. Wow, the damper is hotter than the horizontal output. And then that tube back there, whatever that one is. Yeah, man, that tube is cooking. That one in the back there. $260 degrees. I love it. It just pegs out above 302. Yeah, this tube and the deflection tubes are the hottest. I think this is the audio. It's almost too hot.